Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you're having a great day. I came across a story out of BC that I will be honest, kind of made me laugh. I had a good chuckle about it. So, in BC, there was a court case that made a bunch of headlines because I'm going to say this wrong, of course, the Cowichan tribe uh, won a land claims case in the BC Supreme Court that in the court gave them back or entitled to give them back 7.5 square kilometers. Now, if you're familiar with court cases in BC, 7.5 square kilometers is not typically, a big chunk of real estate. What makes this case noteworthy is that the 7.5 kilometers happens to reside within the city limits of Richmond, BC. So the other reason this court case was significant is that it brought into question people's, normal residents' free and simple title deeds to their property. What would happen if you woke up one day and all of a sudden the First Nation tribe nullified your deed to your land and that land was now theirs and they had title to it? Well, as you can imagine, there were quite a few panicked people who were quite upset that they might lose their title or they might wake up and somehow be living on the reservation. Imagine that, hey? So, as you can imagine, it made big news because it brought into the idea what would happen to free and simple title in a land claim where the land reverted back to the First Nation, because, of course, the First Nation in the BC Supreme Court ruled that the Crown indeed did not consult nor compensate, and so the land must be returned. Now, of course, this court case is far from over. This is just the BC Supreme Court. This is likely over subsequent years going to have to wind its way to the Supreme Court of Canada because that's how all these legal cases work. Everyone's going to appeal and back and forth it'll go. But the tribe is really just looking for a mechanism by which to get compensation for, of course, an outstanding grievance. Nothing new on that front either. So the question is, and what I think is interesting also, is First Nation title to land within a boundary, like a town or city, coexisting with the typical free simple title that most normal Canadians are familiar with. So that is an interesting scenario. How that would actually play out administratively, or you're talking, all the things that come in a town or more densely populated area where you're providing services and roads and power, water, sewer, and the like. I'm not sure how that would work going forward. The fact that you could have maybe on a street one house that belongs to the city and the next subdivision belongs to the tribe or First Nations. I think that's an interesting concept, having coexisting title and coexisting development. I think could provide an interesting model moving forward. We have other cases where cities and towns have expanded and grown over time to butt up against reserves, and you see that in several locations across Canada. But to have a co-mix of titles within a designated area, I think is interesting. But again, what really made me chuckle was when the shoe all of a sudden looked like it could have been on the other foot, how people were very upset that the title they thought they had to the land could have just evaporated and they were without recourse. So a little bit of a chuckle. I hope you get a laugh out of it. I got a laugh out of it. Of course, what is legal will be in the courts for quite some time to see where this actually all pans out, but put a smile on my face for the day. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Until then, keep the shiny side up. The Jig is Up is made possible in part by the Métis Federation of Canada, uniting Métis people from coast to coast to coast.